So look at Anthony Ryder from South Lyon, Michigan, recently selected as the Lions 2020 Fan of the Year. He has a passion about sports broadcasting.
With the 112th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, USC. One pride, baby! Yeah! Day 2 of NFL free agency is officially in the books. After 48 hours of the official tampering window being opened, the Detroit Lions have made a couple of moves to already improve the roster, and they're making a couple more today as well as throughout the future. And we've already talked about Carlton Davis and the trade that they made for the Buccaneers. We've already talked about Marcus Davenport and the signing that they made to bring in a potential big-time pass rusher, but we've yet to really talk about their signings on day 2 and the moves that they're setting up for the future over the next week to week and a half. So today we're going to take a look at it, including money that the Lions freed up yesterday, the signing that they made, the visits that they scheduled, as well as some more rumors as the days go on. So with all of that being said, let's get into taking a look at what the Lions did on day 2. Now, they started off the day by asking John Kaminsky to take a pay cut. They asked him to take a little bit of the money off of his contract to open up some room to go and sign more players. The Lions had about $33 million to open the day. I believe bumped that up to $36 million after the John Kaminsky restructuring. And then they ended up signing a player with pretty much the exact amount of money that they saved. They also ended up signing Dan Skipper to another one-year contract to come in and be the backup / swing tackle for the Detroit Lions. He is officially back and will likely be the tackle 3 for this group unless another player is drafted. Now, around the 1 o'clock mark yesterday, the Detroit Lions went out and they signed another cornerback. They went out and got Amik Robertson, the cornerback from the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, despite being just 5'9", Amik Robinson actually played a majority of his snaps on the boundary, but did have over 100 coverage snaps from the slot as well. He's a versatile defender that hits really hard, plays bigger than he is, brings a swagger and a physicality that, again, the Lions really didn't have last year, and I think it's a really good move for the Detroit Lions. Now, Amik Robinson is just 25 years old, played in 52 games for the Vegas Raiders over the last 4 seasons, while totaling 111 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 4 interceptions, 15 passes defended, those being of over the past 2 seasons. He has 15 passes defended over just the last 2 seasons alone. He has 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, as well as a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Now, again, he is just 5'9". He is a little bit on the smaller side, but he plays like a 6'2" corner. He presses. He is physical at the line of scrimmage. He hits very hard. He goes for the football. And I think he is the exact kind of player that the Detroit Lions wanted him to be. And they're the exact player that the Detroit Lions have been looking for throughout the free agency process, right? The new defensive backs coach came out a couple of weeks ago and said, if you don't tackle, you will not see the field. And so far, the Lions have addressed secondary twice this offseason, really 3 times if you count Emmanuel Mosley. And all 3 of those players tackle very well and are extremely physical, both in the air and through the process of the route. I think Amik Robinson is a very good player for the Detroit Lions. He ended up signing a 2-year, $9.5 million contract, so about $4.25 million every single year. He's going to be an elite special teams ace early on. I think he's going to have the opportunity to earn some starting reps on the boundary corner, and I do think there is going to be a lot of good opportunity for Amik Robinson, whether it be special teams, whether it be boundary cornerback, whether it be rotational slot cornerback. He's a versatile piece, a versatile role player, and I think the Lions are going to be able to find some really unique ways to use him. And I think he fits the Aaron Glenn system to a T. Now, the Lions have also brought in a player for a visit, as top nose tackle DJ Reader has officially scheduled a visit with the Detroit Lions. From what I saw, it's rumored that the visit is on Thursday. However, I do not know exactly how true that is. DJ Reader is 29 years old and the top nose tackle remaining on the market, has 9.5 career sacks, not really a pass rusher, but has been one of the better nose tackles in the NFL for the last several years. He was a big-time free agent when he was leaving Houston 4 years ago. ago, and now he is continuing to be a big-time free agent this time around. He didn't finish last year. He only played 14 games, and I believe ended with a lower body injury, if I remember correctly. The Lions are bringing him in likely just to do physicals, and likely, if the physicals work out, they will likely not let DJ Reader leave the building without signing a contract to be the new nose tackle for the Detroit Lions. Adding some good depth right there and adding some great talent, upgrading obviously from Benito Jones up to DJ Reader would be a massive improvement for the Detroit Lions. And I think an interior defensive line of both Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader would give the Lions potentially the best run-stopping front in the NFL, leaving really just one starting caliber spot open on the defensive line for improvement, that being the opposite edge rushing position to Aiden Hutchinson. But let's say the Lions go to the draft at 29 and they take Braylon Trice. Let's say they take one of the other edge rushers from the class that could go kind of that late first, early second. Braylon Trice is my personal favorite at the moment. That gives you Braylon Trice, who led college football in pressures a season ago, DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil up the middle, with Josh Paschal being a pass rushing rotator with DJ Reader, and then Aiden Hutchinson on the second side with James Houston coming in as a rotational pass rusher, with John Kaminsky being a rotational pass rusher on the interior, with, the ability to free up free lanes for Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone off the blitz. That's a really strong front seven. And with the additions they've already added to the secondary, I think it makes for a really, really good move for the Detroit Lions. The Lions have been very aggressive at the defensive tackle and really the defensive line position overall. And really, if you want to expand that, the defensive side of the ball overall. But I think DJ Reader is a perfect fit. I don't think he'll be too expensive. The Lions have well enough cap to sign him. And I do think it would be a very good move if he is healthy and does pass the physicals for the team. Now, the Detroit Lions have also been rumored to be interested in a couple of other pass rushers and a couple other defensive linemen this season, that being both Chargers Joey Bosa and Chargers Khalil Mack. Now, Joey Bosa is a player that we've talked about before, and he's a player that would cost the Detroit Lions a lot of money. He's a little bit younger, I think a little bit more explosive, but does cost about $25 million a season and would likely cost a trade asset in order to acquire, while Khalil Mack would probably cost less from a draft capital standpoint, but more from a cap space standpoint, taking about $32 million of salary cap this season, which is something the Detroit Lions really just simply can't afford. Now, could they move money around and front load a contract and back load a couple of contracts? Absolutely. But Khalil Mack really doesn't seem to be on the market for the Detroit Lions unless he ends up getting released. There is a very big possibility, and there's a lot of rumors swirling around the Detroit Lions right now, and there's a lot of rumors surrounding the Chargers right now, that in order to get over the cap, or I guess technically under the cap for the Chargers, they're going to have to release/trade a couple of guys, and Khalil Mack would be the number one player that they're trying to get rid of. So if the Detroit Lions end up looking at a free agent Khalil Mack, a Khalil Mack that was recently cut by the Los Angeles Chargers, I think that makes the deal significantly more reasonable. I think if the Lions can create their own contract for Khalil Mack, he'd be a much more desirable player, because last year he had double-digit sacks. Last year he wasn't, overly productive for the entire time, but he was a really good and strong veteran. He's still very stout against the run, still has some pass rush ability, is a player that finishes plays much better than anybody else on the defensive line right now. And even though he's not going to come in and be, the defensive player of the year, the 2014, the 2016 Khalil Mack, he is still a player that can put up 10, 12, even 14 sacks in a really good season. And if you can bring him in on a 1 year, $8, even $10 million contract to pair with Aiden Hutchinson, that's a really good defensive line, right? Khalil Mack, Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil, and DJ Reader would be phenomenal for the front four. Again, with Josh Paschal rotating, with John Kaminsky rotating, with James Houston rotating, with maybe even Broderick Martin getting some reps going into year two. That's a strong defensive line. And you can still go out and draft players in the draft. You can still go out and get a Braylon Trice. You can still go out and get a Chris Braswell in the second round. You can go get, whoever you want on that defense, Tivandre Sweat at the end of the first or into the second, right? There's a lot of players out there that the Lions can target, but I don't think they're going to be in the market for Bosa or Mack unless they do end up on the open market, unless they do end up getting released by the LA Chargers. So those rumors are swirling. Those rumors seem to be very popular, but I think unless they are free agents, a trade is not happening. The Lions are already a little bit thin on picks this season. They already made a trade this offseason, And I can't see Brad Holmes trading more draft capital for more players, especially players in their 30s or players that can't stay healthy. Now, with that being said, I think the Detroit Lions are not done making moves. They have roughly $30 million left in cap space, meaning they have about $20 million in effective cap space to spend. I think they're going to go out and get a couple of guys. DJ Reader is likely on the market. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought back Josh Reynolds. I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and get another wide receiver like DJ Chark. I wouldn't be surprised if they address pass rush once again, whether that be waiting for Khalil Mack or going after a guy like DJ Wanham from Minnesota or, a couple of other guys on the open market. You're not going to find any superstars at this point, but you will find some quality depth and you will sign some value deals. Safety is on the market as well, potentially a Quandre Diggs reunification. A lot of things could happen. A lot of things are still on the table for the Lions. I will keep you all tuned in and I will keep you all updated as these things happen and develop. With all that being said, that is all for you guys today. Let me know down in the comments below who you want to see the Lions sign, how you feel about free agency so far, and whether or not you'd want to see a potential second trade this offseason for a second pass rusher. But with all that being said, that's all I got for you guys right now. Thank you all so very much for watching. And until next time, and as always, go Lions.